Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Danvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hari Bol to all the devotees who led the chanting this morning. Vishwanath Prabhu, Pawan Prabhu, Meenakshi Mohini, Aarti Mataji. Thank you all. Hare Krishna. Welcome Parth Prabhu. Good to see you. Okay, so we'll start with our Mangalacharan prayers, followed by Vaishnava Bhajan, and then reading of Prabhupada books. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamennati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasa Adi Gaur Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, okay. Anybody would like to sing the prayer today? Amaresh Prabhu, would you like to try?
Sure, Prabhu.
Yes, please go ahead.
Pitavarana Kali Pavan Gaura Pitavarana Kali Pavan Gaura Gao ye aichana Bhava Vibhora Gao ye aichana Bhava Vibhora Chitta Darpana Pari Marjanakari Krishna Kirtana Jaya Chitta Vihari Hela Bhavadava Nirvapana Vritti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Klesha Nivritti Shriya Kudumba Vidhu Josna Prakasa Krishna Kirtana Jaya Bhakti Vilasa Vishuddha Vidya Vidhu Vadhu Jivana Rupa Krishna Kirtana Jaya Siddha Sarupa Ananda Payo Nidhi Vardhana Kirti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Pavana Murti Pade Pade Piyusa Swada Pradata Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Vidhata Bhakti Vinoda Swatma Snapana Vidhan Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Nidana Bhakti Vinoda Swatma Snapana Vidhan Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Nidana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Amaresh Prabhu. Very beautiful. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, anybody else would like to read the translation?
I can read it, Prabhu.
Nobody else. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu. Thank you.
Lord Gauranga, whose complexion is golden, and who is the deliverer of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. Signs of follows, overwhelmed with spirituality ecstasy. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It thoroughly cleanses the mirror of the heart. This chanting delights the soul. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It extinguishes the horrible forest fire of material existence. This chanting removes all material tribulations. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It appears like the moon in the heart and distributes a cooling moonlight, thus causing the white lotus of good fortune to bloom. This chanting is the pastime of devotion. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It is compared to a young bride, chaste and devoted to transcendental knowledge itself. This chanting is the highest perfection of life. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It is glorious, as it causes the ocean of ecstatic bliss to swell and overflow. This chanting is an inundation of love of Godhead. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It gives one a taste of fully satisfying nectar at every step. This chanting is the bestower of ecstatic love of God. All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It bathes the soul of Bhakti Vinoda. This chanting is a storehouse of love of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Any particular verse that you liked or any reflections from this prayer?
I think it's, whether praying or chanting or singing God's glory, I think all are paths to connect us to the God, and not forget that we are someone, or we are greater, or something. It keeps us grounded. It gives us the strength to live our life and a content life. And of course, spiritual connection is the strongest thing that you can have in your life. So yeah, nothing much, but just the praying and singing God's glory is the favorite pastime, you can say. But
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your reflection. Yes, like you said, nothing much, right? That was the point. There's not much to do. Just take one path. That's it. Just chant the holy name. That is the only process given for this age of Kali Yuga, because people are short-lived. People don't have time. They're restless, like our minds, we all know. So the Lord has made it so easy in this age that just this chanting, right? Chanting Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. Only way. This is the only way, this is the only way, this is the only way, as the scripture says. And even all acharyas have mentioned, Narad Muni has also mentioned, that if we see the essence of all the scriptures, all the Vedas, all the Upanishads, which are compared to like our mother, Vedas are like our mother because they help us reach back to the Lord. Like Prabhupada was explaining the other day, Vedas are like mother and Upanishads are like sisters. They enable us to connect back to our eternal Father, Krishna. And Acharyas explain that in the Vedas and the Upanishads, everywhere, from Adi, Antyacha, Madhyacha, so from either in the beginning or in the middle or in the end, it is always mentioned that Harihi Sarvatra Giyate. So only Lord and Lord's holy names are explained, and that is the only essence for this day and age. So yes, that's why we are saying Krishna Kirtana Jaya, right? Each line Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying Krishna Kirtan, all glories to the chanting of the holy name. So this is a wonderful prayer describing the first verse of Shikshashtakam given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is one first verse, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written 8+ songs for each of these verses. So this song is glorifying the first verse, which is glorification of the Lord through his holy names. Okay, thank you so much, Amrish Prabhu, once again. Okay, let's continue with our reading of teachings of Lord Kapila Dev. So we are currently reading chapter 11.
And
yes, Prabhu. Nalan Prabhu, you were saying something?
no, thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Nice reciting that and translation and getting good reflection out of it. So I just want to add, yesterday there was a good session from Vrindavan, India, like 1 hour from April Fool from Maya, 8:30 to 9:30 evening yesterday. So there is a reflection actually Maharaj was telling, Krishna gives a lot of options for us. If you can't surrender to me, first he says surrender to Arjun, but if you can't, then better you practice by body, by mind, by intelligence, by heart. If that is also not possible, better do karma in such a way that the fruit of that karma dedicate to me. If that is also not possible, better you read the scripture and gain knowledge of the spiritual so that you will get connected with me. If that is also not possible, then better uh, uh, keep away from all these sin activities and keep doing the pious activities. At least from the pious activities you will again connect to me. So he has given all the 4 options for us, how we'll keep connecting with Krishna. So that's the good learning from yesterday's I noted, and I wanted to share with you all devotees here.
Good. Thank you, Narayan Prabhu. Your sincerity. I know you have to travel a lot through the week, but still you are joining these calls and hearing other the Vani basically. So that is very, very nice, and that is a very good quality to hear. As we can, whether when we are driving or even when we are away. So thank you for that. Okay, so that's what was the theme yesterday. Prabhupada was explaining in these beautiful purports from the teachings of Lord Kapil Dev about how all the different devotees, the sadhus, pure devotees of the Lord are. And Prahlad Maharaj's example was mentioned here at the end, that he has given us this process of Navada Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So hearing, as Narayan Prabhu was just saying, we have to hear. And this is when we chant also, even though chanting is the Yuga Dharma, what is the point of chanting if you don't hear, right? So that is why actually Shravanam comes even before Kirtanam. So even before we start chanting, we should have Shraddha. With the Shraddha, we get Sadhu Sangha, and we should hear from sadhus, from pure devotees, Mahabhagavats, Uttam Adhikaris, those who have no material desires left in their hearts. So that Shravanam is very, very important. And even when we are chanting, yes, hearing again, we have to hear that transcendental sound vibration. If we just start here to hear, then I think everything will start becoming perfect. So should not forget that while chanting is the Yoga Dharma, our attention should come back to hearing the holy sound, holy transcendental vibration. So only when that happens, then we will start seeing that cleansing of the heart will start happening. Of course, chanting also is auspicious, but when we club it with attentive hearing, then it starts taking effect. So we should do that. Okay, let's continue from here. After this paragraph, even in ordinary life, it is possible for the mind to be absorbed in such a way that even a surgical operation may not disturb a man. Years ago, when Stalin had to undergo a surgical operation, he refused the use of chloroform. If this is possible even in an ordinary materialistic life, then what to speak of spiritual life? One's mind should always be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, in thinking of Krishna. It is Krishna's injunction, always think of me. The European and American youths in the Krishna consciousness movement have been accustomed to many bad habits since birth, but now they have given these up. Many people think that it is impossible to live without illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating and gambling. One famous Marquis told one of my godbrothers, "Please make me a Brahmana." My godbrother said, "Yes, it is not a very difficult thing. Simply give up these bad habits, intoxication, illicit sex, meat eating and gambling. Then you can become a Brahmana." The Marquis then said, "Impossible. This is our life." Actually, we have seen that in Western countries, older men cannot give up these habits, and because of this, they are suffering. Yet, many young boys and girls have given them up, and there is no suffering. This is due to Krishna consciousness. This process is open to everyone. Everyone has heard of the Bhagavad Gita. We can attain perfection simply by following the instructions given in this book. It is not necessary to abandon our responsibilities. Maharaj Ambrish was a great emperor, administering to his kingdom. Yet, at the same time, he spoke only of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested that his devotees only talk about Krishna. If we simply talk about Krishna and hear about him, the stage will come when we will no longer suffer. This is called Anandamayo Bhyasad in the Vedanta Sutra. The living entity and Krishna are both Anandamaya, transcendentally blissful. On that platform, there is no possibility of material suffering. It is not a question of displaying some magical feats. The greatest magic is freedom from suffering, and this is the freedom of a devotee. When we feel pleasure from hearing about Krishna and talking about him, we should know that we are making progress on the path of perfection. And at that time, material suffering will not be felt at all. This is the practical effect of rendering devotional service, which Lord Kapila is pointing out to his mother. Text 24. Ta ete sandava sadhvi sarva sanga vivarjitaha sangasteshvatha te prarthyah sanga dosha harahite. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Kapila Muni herein advises his mother Devahuti that if she wants to be free from material attachment, she should increase her attachment for the sadhus or devotees who are completely freed from all material attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.5, it is stated, Nirmana moha jita sanga doshaha. This refers to one who is completely freed from the puffed up condition of material possessiveness. A person may be materially very rich or respectable, but if he at all wants to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom, back home, back to Godhead, he has to be freed from material possessiveness, because that is a false position. The word moha used here means that false understanding that one is rich or poor. In this material world, the conception that one is very rich or very poor, or any such consciousness in connection with material existence is false, because this body itself is temporary. A pure soul who is prepared to be freed from this material entanglement must first be free from the association of the three modes of nature. Our consciousness at the present moment is polluted because of association with the three modes of nature. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is stated. It is advised, Jita Sangha Doshaha. One should be freed from the contaminated association of the three modes. Here also in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is confirmed. A pure devotee who is preparing to transfer himself to the spiritual kingdom is also freed from the association of the three modes. We have to seek the association of such devotees. For this reason, we have begun the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. There are many mercantile and scientific associations in human society established to develop a particular type of education or consciousness. But there is no association which helps one to get free from all material association. If anyone wishes to become free from this material contamination, he has to seek the association of devotees, wherein Krishna consciousness is exclusively cultured. Because the devotee is freed from all contaminated material association, he is not affected by the miseries of material existence, even though he appears to be in the material world. How is it possible? A cat carries her kittens in her mouth, and when she kills a rat, she also carries the booty in her mouth. Thus both are carried in the mouth of the cat, but they are in different conditions. The kitten feels comfort in the mouth of the mother, whereas when the rat is carried in the mouth of the cat, the rat feels the blows of death. Similarly, those who are sadhus or devotees engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they do not feel the contamination of material miseries, whereas those who are not devotees in Krishna consciousness actually feel the miseries of material existence. One should therefore give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of those engaged in Krishna consciousness. By such association, one will be benefited by spiritual advancement. By their words and instructions, one will be able to cut off his attachment to material existence. In this Kali Yuga, the present age, the dangerous modes of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, passion and ignorance, are especially prominent. Practically, everyone in this age is contaminated by lusty desire, greed and ignorance. It is said in the Shastras that in this age of Kali, Sattva-guna, the mode of goodness, is practically non-existent. The 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita nicely explains how one can free oneself of contamination by the material modes. Now Kapila Deva advises, Mother, If you want to get rid of the contamination of material nature, you should associate with a sadhu. Attachment to the material modes brings about our bondage. If we want to be free from this bondage, we have to transfer our attachment to a sadhu. Actually, everyone is attached to something. No one can say that he is free from attachment. The Mayavada and the Buddhist philosophies tell us to become detached, but this in itself is not possible. A child is attached to playing in so many ways, but gradually his attachments should be transferred to reading and going to school to acquire an education. It is a question not of stopping attachment, but of transferring it. If one simply tries to put an end to an attachment, he will become mad. Something must be given in the place of attachment. For instance, we tell our disciples to stop eating meat, but how is this meat eating stopped? In the place of meat, we are supplying kachoris, rasgullas, and many other palatable things. In this way, detachment is possible. First of all, nullify the inferior attachment and then supply a better attachment. There is no question of forcing a living entity. This must be done gradually. A child may have some attachment, but by the system of replacing the attachment, his attachment is overturned. Similarly, our consciousness has somehow or other become contaminated. Now it has to be purified. Then Krishna consciousness will automatically arise and awaken. Krishna consciousness is our original consciousness, but somehow or other it has become covered by material attachment. The question is how to give up material attachment and become attached to Krishna. The process is sadhu sangha, association with a sadhu. We have many attachments in this material world, but we cannot make these attachments void. We simply have to purify them. Some say that if the eye is diseased, it should be plucked out, but that is not the treatment. Treatment is removing the disease. Somehow or other, there is a cataract, and if the cataract is removed, one's eyesight will be revived. We have many desires, but we have to divert these desires to Krishna's service. For instance, we may be very attached to making money. Therefore, Krishna says, yes, go ahead and conduct your business. There is no harm. Simply give me the results. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9.27. Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. This is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga. If we conduct business and earn money, we should spend it for Krishna. This is a form of bhakti. Another vivid example is Arjuna, who was a fighter. By fighting, he became a devotee. He did not become a devotee by chanting Hare Krishna, but by fighting in the battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna advised him to fight, but because Arjuna was a Vaishnav, in the beginning he was unwilling. A Vaishnav does not like to kill anything, but if Krishna orders him, he must fight. He does not fight out of his own will, because a Vaishnava's natural instinct is not to do harm to anyone. However, when a Vaishnava knows that Krishna wants a particular thing done, he does not care for his own considerations. In any case, everyone has some particular type of duty, an occupation. If we perform our occupation in the worship of Krishna, our life will be perfect. This is also the instruction given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.13. Atah pumbedvaja shrestha varnashrama vibhagashah swanusthithasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. O best of the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Formerly, the Varnashrama Dharma was prominent, and everyone had a particular duty according to his position in society. Now the occupation duties have expanded, but it doesn't matter whether one is an engineer, a doctor, or whatever. Simply try to serve Krishna by the results of work. That is bhakti. It is not the philosophy of this Krishna consciousness movement to disengage people from their activities. One should engage in his occupation, but one should never forget Krishna. Krishna advises us to always become Krishna conscious, and we should always think that we are acting for Krishna. Of course, we should work by the order of Krishna or his representative. not whimsically. If we perform some nonsensical action and think, I am doing this for Krishna, that will not be accepted. The work must be verified by Krishna's acceptance or by the acceptance of Krishna's representative. Arjuna did not fight without Krishna's order. Therefore, we must receive our orders also. We may say, I cannot find Krishna. How can I follow his order? It is the role of the sadhu to impart Krishna's orders. Since Krishna's representative is the sadhu, Kapil Dev advises his mother to associate with the sadhus. We have described the symptoms of a sadhu, and we have stated that a sadhu should be accepted by his characteristics. It is not that we accept anyone who comes along and says, I am a sadhu. The characteristics of a sadhu have to be present. Similarly, it is not that anyone is accepted who comes along and says, I am an incarnation of God. There are characteristics of God given in the Shastras. Sadhu Sangha, association with the sadhu, is very essential in Krishna consciousness. People are suffering due to contamination by Tamoguna and Rajoguna. The sadhu teaches one how to remain purely in Sattvaguna by truthfulness, cleanliness, mind control, sense control, simplicity, tolerance, and full faith and knowledge. These are some of the characteristics of Sattvaguna. Instead of thinking, unless I have a drink, I will go mad, one should think, unless I associate with a sadhu, I will go mad. When we can think in this way, we will become liberated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stated that he wants every village in the entire world to be a center for Krishna consciousness, so that people can take advantage of sadhus and in turn become sadhus. This is the mission of this Krishna consciousness movement. We simply have to voluntarily undergo some penance in the beginning. It may be a little painful in the beginning to refrain from illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating and gambling, but one has to be tolerant. To be cured of a disease, we may have to agree to undergo some surgical operation. Although the operation may be very painful, we have to tolerate it. This is called titikshavaha. At the same time, we have to be karunikaha. That is, we have to take compassion upon fallen souls by going from town to enlighten others in Krishna consciousness. This is sadhu's duty. Those who are preachers are superior to those who go to the Himalayas to meditate. It is to go to the Himalayas to meditate for one's personal benefit. But those who undergo many difficulties in order to preach are superior. They are actually fighting for Krishna's sake, and they are certainly more compassionate. Those sadhus who leave Vrindavan to go fight in the world to spread Krishna consciousness are superior sadhus. This is the opinion of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, we'll pause here. In the shelter of the sadhus, as Srila Prabhupada is, and we see how he transformed the lives of everybody when he came to America from Vrindavan, leaving behind the comforts of Vrindavan. He came as a 70-year-old man, and he just on the basis of this chanting and hearing and remembrance of the Lord, as he was coming even in Jalduta, he was constantly in remembrance of the Lord, as we see, even while he was sleeping, when he had heart attacks, right? He had that remembrance of the Lord, and that is what we have to develop, that remembrance of the Lord 24/7. And it comes with practice, step by step, gradually. It's not an overnight magic that will happen, right? So we have to stay on the track. But the point here that Prabhupada is making is that such a sadhu, that is a sadhu, first class sadhu, is one who is always remembering the Lord and who has given up all attachments to material sense gratification, and he has completely dovetailed his or her attachment to Krishna, right? So spiritual attachment leads to material detachment. So like Prabhupada was explaining here, I was thinking like how Prabhupada is saying here that so many people have transformed. Right? Initially, it is very hard to give up these meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, right? But we have to be tolerant. Suffering will be there, but as sadhu, on the path of this bhakti, we have to be tolerant. So we have to tolerate the sufferings. And how Prabhupada, once I was hearing a class like Prabhupada, when he incorporated ISKCON in 1965, he came right to America and Jaladuta in 1966, almost after a year, when ISKCON was incorporated. All these devotees were coming to Prabhupada for those few months, initial months. They were all mostly hippies, people. Some of them, of course, were also working, but the initial group, and then the people who joined in the park, many of them were just hippies, right? So they were, and then there was also this the attorney who was coming, who helped to incorporate ISKCON, right? So Maharaj was saying that all of them were just coming, and then when that attorney came one day, why he was coming. He was coming because Prabhupada was giving them, like Prabhupada said, we are not telling them to just stop meat, but what are we doing? We are giving them an alternate. The alternate is, Prabhupada was giving them kachoris, he was giving them rasgullas, he was giving them the ISKCON bullets, gulab jamun, right? So many of them became attracted because they had never tasted what they were tasting, the bliss of Mahaprasadam, right? So when they were having those ISKCON bullets, they were coming again and again. So this attorney advocate who actually helped to type up all the papers to actually incorporate the International Society, and he came and he said to Prabhupada, "Oh Swamiji, I have all the papers today I have brought to incorporate your International Society." And then he said, "But when to incorporate International Society, we need to have trustees. We need to have at least 12 trustees. Only then it can be incorporated." And then, so do you have any trustees? Then Prabhupada just looked around. He said, he looked at all the people who were sitting in the audience, and they were all mostly hippies. And he says, "Yes, here, everybody is here. He can sign, he can sign, he can sign." And then this attorney, he looked back at them. They were all in shambles, they were all wearing dirty clothes and hippies. And then he says to Prabhupada, "So Prabhupada, I'm asking for trustees, but are they really trustworthy?" so he was saying, "Are they trustworthy to be called as trustees?" And Prabhupada says, "Yes, they are." So anyway, so long story short, so that is how Prabhupada transformed, like Shivji, he has all the booths and plates around him, but he has made everybody devotee. Like that, Prabhupada transformed all these booth-like hippies into happies, and not just happies, but actually pure Vaishnavas. So that is the power of association of a pure devotee. And that is what Kapil Dev is telling to his mother, Devavati, that if we have to get rid of our material attachment, we just have to simply dovetail our attachment to spiritual sadhus, pure devotees of the Lord. Once we dovetail our attachment to sadhu sangha, then we understand the process of bhajana kriya, how to chant, how to hear, how to remember the Lord. Right? As Prahlad Maharaj has given, and as Srila Prabhupada has nicely explained to us in modern language, in English, he has made it so easy for all of us. And especially, like I say, I never studied Sanskrit growing up, so for me it was very hard. But just by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we are directly associating with him through his instructions, through his Vani. And just by this association with Srila Prabhupada and with our Guru Varga, by following their instructions, we can dovetail our material attachment and purify our senses, our mind, and our intelligence, and we can perfect our lives. So that is the power of, it's like that volt, shock, bijli ka volt lagta hai. So yes, sometimes we have to get that shockage of volt of spiritual current, and we can only get that from a sadhu, from a spiritual saint, pure devotee. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, reflections, criticisms, remembrance of the Lord as we are doing? Yesterday we started our week 4 of remembrance of the Lord through Shabda Khe, which is hearing the sound. Krishna says, "I'm the sound in ether." So the sound that we hear in the nature, we are saying beautiful birds are chirping this morning, every morning now, so we can remember the Lord. Yesterday we also had very nice thunder and thundering and raining. So even with that we can remember the Lord. So I'd like to hear, anybody would like to share any reflections, how you remembered the Lord yesterday? You can unmute and speak if you'd like to share anything. Nalin Prabhu, you want to say anything? Pawan Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Shared. I already shared, bro, for today.
Okay. Yes.
So Anandini Mataji should share.
Yes. Prabhu, Nalan Prabhu, what you were sharing from the katha you heard, we heard a little bit more about Yat Karosi Yat Jehoshi. So that was also one of the options that Krishna gives in chapter 12. So this was a nice connection that if you can't surrender to me, whatever you do, whatever you eat or drink, you offer it to me. And yesterday, when it was raining so hard, I had gone to pick up kids from school. And you know how in India, when it rains, the earth smells so it's so fragrant. So that's another reminder of Krishna. Krishna says that I'm the fragrance of earth in chapter 10. So that reminded me, because I don't usually get to appreciate that fragrance in America, but somehow that reminded me back of India, back home. So, and Krishna. So just wanted to share that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Meenakshi Mani gave me the flower offer to the Lord yesterday night. So when I smelled that, I remember that the fragrance that you just talked about. It was so nice. Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. We didn't talk about thunder, but when I heard the thunder yesterday, yes, I remembered the Lord through that. So, okay, anybody else would like to say anything? Pawan Prabhuji, आपने वो sticker बना लिया? You were going to make one sticker, you said. You're on mute if you're speaking.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, no, I hadn't had a chance to do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for your association this morning with Srila Prabhupada through this wonderful books that he has given us. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Jagat Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Kapila Dev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.